All right, is Bitcoin on a major bounce now? Is crypto about to make a big move here? And what is the hot narrative here? Because yesterday, a new hot narrative has popped up. Pablo called it, and Pablo called the right coin. We're going to give you updates on what this new hot narrative is and how it's performing. But just look at Bitcoin here, right? We're coming in to the Sunday close. And look at this. Right, Bitcoin is just trying to pip its head above here. Right, remember this is the day when gold actually crashed. Bitcoin's meant to pop all the way up here, and then it dunked. Right, so we can see how big this level of resistance line is. Look, Bitcoin still got rejected here, and yet we're trying to break through here right now on this Sunday afternoon. Right, so this is going to be a big deal, and the next level, I imagine, would need to challenge this 116K area. Let's call it 116K area, the red line and the blue line all in one, if we can close above here, right? But what is this one hot narrative that that everyone is talking about? Let's have a look. Basically, we can see Bitcoin is up, ETH is up a little, but a lot of these smaller altcoins are bouncing more, such as Arrow. Why is Arrow up? Well, Arrow is on this base chain. Why is base chain hot? Hold on 1 second. All right, look at all this. Arrow is up 7%, and Virtues is up 28%. Well, that is because Coinbase has pushed out this new X402 protocol for micropayments for AI agents. So essentially what I spoke about yesterday is that now you've got AI agents going very hot. That's why Virtues is up like 28% today, right? And I think it was up huge yesterday as well. So 2 big days. Look, it went from basically 78 cents to now hitting about the $1.32 level, right? And not only is AI agents hot again, but also because this is all happening on the base chain, because it's Coinbase created this protocol, so Arrow, which is the main DEX on Coinbase, is also hot as well. But what are some of the coins that are actually taking off? Let's have a look at Virtues here. Virtues is basically, let's draw this line out. Oh, wow, look at this. Because I haven't updated this Virtues line for a trend line for a while, but if we were to extend this trend line, just have a look at this, folks. Basically, right, we see the resistance is here around $1.31, and we see another resistance here around $1.25-ish area. Eventually, I think this is a big bull flag of sorts, and we're going to break through and come up to at least $2 here for Virtues. That's a lot of good work they've done on the for AI agents. I think this X402 thing is actually pretty real. I'll show you guys which coins in X402 that I'm getting into. Now let's have a look at where the market is right now, right? So, for example, this is the net realized profit and loss of all traders, not just short-term holders, but of all traders. So every time when Bitcoin is at a new all-time high, this was 74K, right? We can see net realized profit. When people sell, they realize profit was at a huge high, right? Here, and that's when it tops, of course, went to 49K. Here at around 108K, just as Trump won the election, massive net realized profit means people were taking profits, people were selling, and then, of course, basically, then prices dumped to 74K. And here, once again, around 120K, we had massive net realized profit, right? People are selling. That's as simple as that. And when these people sell too much, then people panic and they sell into a loss. That becomes net realized loss, right? Then we have bottom at 49K, right? Net realized loss when people are selling in a panic. Then we have bottom at 74K. We are not quite there yet, but we're kind of getting close here. So that's why I keep on saying another 2 or 3 weeks, right, of swinging sideways, and we might get there, and that would mark the bottom. So the way I view this situation has been, I put in this fractal, and folks should know that's what I think for a while now. But before we get on to answering all those questions, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo use? Well, Pablo uses exchange that's non-KYC. That means you don't need to show any ID. So that means even the exchange can't see who you are. So that means the IRS can't see you, tax office can't see you, FBI, CIA, nobody can see you, total privacy. That's why Pablo has made this deal with them. So this is exclusive on the Pablo link, right? Went up to $6,000 plus 2 ETH, whatever that ETH 1 ETH may be at the end of this trading period, and also get 20% bonus just by depositing and trading a little. Deposit $100, right? Get $20 bonus by trading over 4K. Deposit $500 and get 100 USDT by trading over 20K. And we can see, right, deposit $1,000, get 200 USDT. We can see all of this, right? Limited time only, folks. This 20% plus $6,000 and 2 ETH exclusive campaign. And it finishes on the November the 4th, midnight. And remember, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, then the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. But if you're watching on any other platform, that's okay. Such as this one, that's all right. Just click on my profile page, and there's my link tree or Stan link. We click on that. And there is the deal, the first deal that pops up, because this is a great deal. All right, let's get back to the markets, folks. But remember, this deal is only exclusive on the Pablo link. Only on the Pablo link. All right, so let's have a look at where we were, which is here. So basically, we need to have some sort of pullback here, right, for us to go negative in net realized profit and loss. That means people are selling at a loss, and then we're ready to bounce. That's the pattern. But have a look at this. This is what I've been expecting. So another 4 or 5 weeks of this, we dip, we go up, we dip, we go up, and we dip. So then we're going to get those panic sells, selling at a loss, realized loss. That's when basically Bitcoin bottoms and we go for the next leg up. So this is not a surprise to folks who have been watching the markets. Now, that's Bitcoin. What about Ethereum? Ethereum Tether USDT. Here we can see that basically this is the stochastics, right? And every time when it bottoms, right, even here, we see the stochastic comes into oversold territory. Right here, we see oversold territory once again, right? And here is where we are now. Not saying we can't go lower. I do think it is possible, and the chart has room. The indicator has room for us to go one more dip, right? Something like 3,400, and then pop up. That's still possible. I cannot rule that out. We cannot rule that out. We still have the probability to dip one more time and then bounce up. But essentially, we are kind of near, the oversold zone already. Okay, now this is something that I think everyone would be interested in. This is the stablecoin supply ratio. Stablecoin supply ratio, and what that means is basically when you have a lot of stable coins, right? And when that ratio is very high, then that means there's lots of dry powder on the sidelines. When stablecoin supply is very low, then that means everyone has already bought. We're closer to a top. So when we're closer to a top, they've this RSI indicator of the SSR, which is stablecoin supply ratio, goes to the top of the range, and we go red. And so it generates all these red signals. We top, and when we go down, then it generates all these stablecoin supply ratio buy signals, and we go green, and we bottom. We go red, we top, we go green, we bottom. We go red, we top, we go green, we bottom. Red, couple of false signals here, but this red top is kind of okay. Green bottom, right? That's pretty good. All these red signals were wasted except these last 3 or 4, that marks the top, and then green signals mark the bottom, right? This was actually 74K top to 49K bottom. But we can see that the greens also came in a little bit early. See here, came in a little bit early, but these greens nailed the bottom. Top came in too early. Boom, we took off. These tops came in too early. This one was okay. Green bottom came in too early. This was a magnificent green bottom, a 74K. Red signal came too early, but this time the top. So what can we see here? We can see basically where we are standing right now. We can see that there's been a number of green signals, right, around this 104, 103K area. And that means we're potentially seeing these kind of opportunities again. I tend to agree. I tend to think that the low 100s, like 104, 103, 102K area, if we ever get there, would be a buying zone, right? Would be lower support. But we just can't be sure if these green zones came in a little bit too early, like here, right? It could come in a little bit early, like here. So we can't be sure. But at least stable coins are showing that, there's lots of stable coins sitting on the sideline right now. Lots of coins that can buy in right now. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. What's next? Okay, here's another chart showing the short-term holders percent supply in profit. What percentage of the short-term Bitcoin holders are still in profit? And when they're not in profit, when they are panicking, when they're going down, that is when obviously the market has bottomed, as always. So this is kind of an accurate indicator because every time when people panic, that's when the bottom is hit. So look at this. This was the 49K. I know it says 53, but it was 49K bottom, August of 2024, when the Japanese yen carry trade got reversed or got blown up, and only 3% of short-term holders of Bitcoin were actually in profit, because the short-term holders tend to be too opportunistic and they tend to get it wrong. They tend to lose money, whereas the long-term holders tend to be making profits, right? Not always, but much more than short-term holders, right? When only 3% were still in profit, basically that's when Bitcoin bottomed and up we go, right? And then this crashed to, well, it says 82K here, but that's the daily close. The wick went down to 74K and only 2% were in profit, 2% of short-term holders of Bitcoin, right? And then that marked the bottom of the trade war, and up we went, and now boom, 106K. It's not a huge pullback, even though we hit 101K on the Binance chart a few days ago. We can see that still 12% of short-term holders are in profit. And we're not sure this is a bottom because the last two times when it bottomed, it hit extreme levels, like only 3% or 2% of short-term holders were actually in profit. So right now it was 12% short-term holders in profit. I'm not sure if that's enough of a flush out. I still keep open the possibility we could revisit the 100K area, or the 100K zone, somewhere around there, 100K. And here's some good news for alt season and folks who want to see alt season, which is 99% of people out there. Now, look, this is Bitcoin versus ETH quarterly ETF flow chart. The quarter we've just had, even though you might think it's terrible, bad for alts, but look, Q3 2025, which is July, August, September 2025, we've actually had the gray bar bigger than the blue bar. That means ETH actually was higher than Bitcoin. All this time, Bitcoin, look at this, just crushed ETH, right? 6 times more here and 6 times more here, right? This is fourth quarter 2024, second quarter 2025. Basically, people were just buying so much more of Bitcoin ETF rather than ETH ETF. Whilst here, right? This is the first time where ETH ETF, people buying ETH ETF was actually higher than Bitcoin. So that's why it gives me confidence to say that, some sort of altcoin season has reached us. There's every reason to believe that altcoin season has reached us. I mean, the money flowing into Bitcoin versus flowing into ETH was always 6-1. And now ETH is actually more than Bitcoin. Before we had this crash of October 11th, caused by Binance, caused by CZ, I think the market was giving us strong signals that that altcoin season was on its way. And now I still think altcoin season is going to come, but it's probably, again, delayed by like 2 or 3 weeks right now. Okay, and just a quick update on the X402 narrative. People have been talking about this X402 narrative, which is basically a micropayments protocol created by Coinbase. This has been a very hot narrative of the last couple of days. And as I've been telling you guys in yesterday's video, the payments are actually not done, through on the blockchain. It's actually done on HTTP 402 payment protocol. What does that even mean? See, every address that that mostly you enter is basically HTTPS, semicolon / www.something.org or .com. So basically, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and it's basically very ancient Web 2 or internet technology from the 90s, except Coinbase figured out how to just use that for micropayments. And of course, the coin that I spoke about when this technology comes along is something called Swarm. I said, Swarm is basically trying to empower all the AI agents using the 250 terabytes of data it has on blockchain. It's trying to give all that data away, but charge a small amount of money for this. And that's good intentions, but there were some agents who wanted to take advantage of this, but they couldn't make the payments to Swarm. Now, basically, any AI agent can pay Swarm, who's also an AI agent, because you can basically now just do micropayments on the X402 protocol, which was invented by Coinbase. So yesterday when I spoke about Swarm, it was around 180K around here. I said, look, it's 180K. This coin's backed by Mark Cuban, the billionaire, backed by Reid Hoffman, the billionaire founder of LinkedIn. So under 2 mil was amazing value. And now today, as we speak right now, it hit 4.8 mil. So more than 2x, more like a 2.5x. There are other coins in this X402 narrative, but I think Swarm is quite a good one. I might do some more research on the other ones and update you guys on that. Until then, I think Swarm, I think Wire, Pretty, all those coins I've spoken about for the last few weeks, all of them can do well. There are good news for every one of them. All right. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Catch you next episode.